Welcome to yet another Koot Podcast Series where we discuss global SaaS adoption trends, global tech adoption trends with global industry leaders. Today, we have a very special guest with us, Anirban Nandi, who is currently VP AI and Data at Albertsons. He is one of the top 100 AI leaders in India, and he has more than 18 years of experience in the data science machine learning. So let's welcome Anirban. Hi, Anirban. Thank you so much for taking out time for us and our audience. Really looking forward to learn a lot of about the AI and the data and the product grade AI, especially from your experience, Anirban. Welcome, Anirban.
Thank you, Nageshwari, for the elaborate introduction. I don't think I deserve one, but still thank you. I have a lot more to achieve in my professional career, but I will continue to do my best, and it's great to be part of the podcast along with you.
No, absolutely, and even given your role, you definitely deserve it. Given your role and so many GCCs, Rakuten and Target, and especially in the telecom and retail and fintech industry. So rich experience, Anirban. Let's start with your brief career journey and your current
Mhm.
role at Albertsons, Anirban.
Sure. Like you correctly mentioned, I have close to 18 years of experience. Did my master's, both my graduation and both my post-graduation and undergraduation economics. I was kind of forced by my elder
Okay.
sister to follow stat maths. Okay. I initially wanted to become an engineer, but she kind of told me, no, this is the field you want to be, given my um, good grades in mathematics, let me put it this way. And then
Mhm.
eventually EcoStat Maths happened, got campus placed in targets, spent close to 8 years building some of the core data sciences and machine learning algorithms at Target. Followed
Mhm.
that up with a Middle Eastern conglomerate called as Landmark Group, known in India for its brand like Lifestyle, Max, Home Center, but this was primarily a headquarter role. So was in Dubai for a couple of years, came back and set up the GCC. Spent over 5 years at Landmark Group building a lot of the retail analytics solution. Then got lucky with Rakuten, such a big
Rakuten. Yeah.
conglomerate, Japan headquartered conglomerate, but has presence over 30 plus regions, 70 plus businesses. Worked across their e-commerce, fintech, telco, all
Mm.
of that. And I recently joined Albertsons as the global VP for data and AI, and look after everything in the data and AI space right now. So excited to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. What a versatile role, Anirban. Let's take with this, Anirban. There's so much of AI in the air, and so many leaders are talking about it already. Now, where is the confusion, Anirban? When they are saying data advanced analytics over the products which are AI grade, and what it, because given your experience, you have started from Target, and you have started maybe working with the dashboards and things like that, and now with the AI products actually gives the actually impacts the business. So if you could throw some light on this journey, Anirban.
I think your question is around confusion between advanced analytics and product grade
Yeah,
AI, if I
correct,
hear you correctly. Okay.
correct.
So I think one of the most common confusions is assuming that technical sophistication automatically equals to product readiness. If
Okay.
something that uses deep learning, transformers, or generative AI technologies, it's often labeled as an AI product.
Yeah.
Even if it's still manually triggered, fragile, and dependent on a few experts keeping it alive. In reality, many of these advanced analytics artifacts that have crossed the product threshold yet. So, not
Okay.
most of them have not crossed it. Product grade AI actually requires your operational discipline. It needs uptime guarantees, monitoring, fallback mechanisms,
Okay.
governance, and ownership, just to name a few. It needs to survive the messy data, unexpected behavior, and business exceptions, actually.
Okay.
Here's my favorite informal test. If the system breaks the moment the original data scientist changes teams,
Hmm.
it's not a product. It's a sciences fair project with a roadmap. The
Correct.
irony is that most of this boring AI system feels
Hmm.
reliable, predictable, embedded. the more likely it is truly product grade.
Okay.
Leaders often underestimate how much engineering, governance, and change management it takes to turn something impressive into something dependable. So that's how I would position it.
No, sure. And even you rightly mentioned, right? See, there is a team, data team, who is continuously generating the data. There's a business team who is continuously reviewing the insights given by the data, but ultimately, who owns it? So, according to you, maybe I'll take this question. Where, according to you, how important is the ownership, Anirban? For example, merchandising, team or supply chain team. How should they be taking the ownership? Should they be, measuring their promotion, ROI on promotion strategies, and the supply chain? They're keeping an eye on their inventory, taking the recommendations from the AI that when to give the discount and when not.
Sure. Again, I'll keep it at the product grade AI initiatives. I think the defining characteristics is that a product grade AI initiative is built for responsibility and not just for intelligence. It
Yeah.
assumes that it will be wrong sometimes and design that for the actual reality. I was talking about that it includes observability so that teams can understand what's happening,
Yeah.
guardrails so that the systems behave with acceptable boundaries, and
Correct.
feedback loops so that it improves
Correct.
over time.
Correct.
Another key difference is actually life cycle thinking. A sophisticated model
Mm.
often lives in isolation, built,
Mm.
celebrated, and then slowly forgotten. A product grade AI
Okay.
system has a life cycle, which is pilot, then scale, optimize, and sometimes retire as well if it's not generating the optimum
Ah,
return on investment. It's versioned, measured, and continuously evaluated against business outcomes, not just static accuracy metrics. Finally, the important point that you mentioned is ownership. Ownership matters
mm.
enormously. When business
Mm.
owns the outcome and the AI team owns the capability, the system overall evolves. With that
Mm.
shared accountability, sometimes even great models actually remain
Yeah.
academic exercise only. Actually, without that shared responsibility, not with the without
Mm.
you having that shared responsibility, sometimes even the great models remain academic exercises. And thereby, I think product grade AI is as much about operating discipline, is it,
Mm.
and as it is about algorithms per se.
Absolutely. Sure. And even could you, given your experience, could you share one small example, maybe in the retail, where you have
Mhm.
seen the overall journey and transition happening from mere dashboards to AI products, which is embedded on everyday, activities, Anirban?
I think a very common example that people can relate to
Mm.
is recommendation and personalization systems. The early versions typically starts as analytical models that scores customers or products and product rank list actually.
Mm.
Initially, these outputs are reviewed,
Mm.
debated, and often
Mm.
overridden by manual business subject experts as well.
Mm.
Over time, as team sees consistent value, these recommendations get embedded directly into digital experience, marketing
Mm.
systems, and
Mm.
merchandising workflows.
Yeah.
The real moment of transition is actually behavioral, not technical.
Mm.
The
Mm.
business stops asking, should we use this recommendation? And
Mm.
start asking,
Mm.
why did the system recommend this today?
Yeah.
That's the that's the shift that actually corresponds to the shift, the signal towards a trustworthy system.
Correct.
And interestingly, that has also when the complaints start because
Mm.
once people rely on AI daily, they expect it to behave like a colleague, not a calculator.
Okay.
If an AI system gets blamed in meetings, it has officially been part of the team to me. That reliance only happens when actually the system proves
Mm.
itself repeatedly in production across
Yeah.
seasons, promotions,
Mm.
and age cases. That's when
Great.
analytics becomes an AI product.
No, wonderful. So AI is actually a part of the meetings or even the ones which you're attending. Oh,
A lot of them
okay.
over a period of
Mm.
time across my
Very
journey of
interesting.
18.
Oh, very interesting, Anirban. Now, Anirban, moving on to my next question, where I want to understand how do we spoke about the business owners, right? Now,
Mhm.
when you kind of preempted my this question, adoption and the challenges of adoption. which are the scenarios in which the teams, the frontline teams especially, are overriding the recommendations given by the AI, Anirban?
I think, again, business ownership is non-negotiable,
Yeah.
according to me. The moment merchandising or supply chain owns the outcome, AI stops being theoretical. The
Okay.
discussions shift from model accuracy to operational impact. Edge cases suddenly matters. Exceptions get documented, feedback becomes a lot more structured. So when the
Hmm.
business owns the KPI, AI teams stopped optimizing in isolation and start partnering deeply. The models improve faster because real world feedback flows naturally.
Hmm.
Adoption accelerates because the
Hmm.
system aligns with how decisions are actually made, not
Hmm.
how we wish they were made. So there's a difference between wishing but actually happening.
Hmm. Hmm.
Overall, I think without business ownership, AI initiatives tend to stall at the pilot stage. With
Hmm.
it, AI becomes more embedded into planning cycles, you name it, execution systems, and daily
Hmm.
workflows.
Hmm.
That's the ownership in is what which turns experimentation into what I name it as muscle memory.
Got it. So, in this whole journey, Anirban, which one did you find is the most challenging? Is it the mindset of the team members, or it is the systems, discipline, as you mentioned, Anirban?
I think this is a very complicated question, Nageshwari. Depending on the cycle that the AI product is going through, the
Okay.
challenges are very, very difficult or different. I wouldn't say
Mm.
difficult because most of the AI products go through that same cycle. And
Mm.
once you have successfully implemented something from a pilot to a production grade, more or
Mm.
less it's kind of similar. But depending on the stage, whether we are at the pilot stage, scale stage, production stage, right,
Okay.
observability stage, the
Uh,
the challenges are different. And I wouldn't say that changing mindset change is the only critical thing that comes up as
mm.
a challenge. Sometimes there are system challenges, sometimes there are people challenges. So it's an optimal
Mm.
mix of
Sure.
how our personal lives behave. Like you don't know what we will
Yeah.
do when we wake up from the morning tomorrow, right? So there's a
Absolutely.
lot of unforeseen in this entire ecosystem.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Anirban. And you mentioned about scale, Anirban. So, according to you, which are the other elements? You kind of covered most of the things, but which are the critical elements when it comes to the which we need to add to our advanced analytics or the data ML, which could make the AI scalable?
I think a lot of people start with thinking that it's the model itself. Okay.
Hmm.
Overarching, I think models are only one component of a much larger ecosystem.
Okay.
Um, it's a complex ecosystem. To scale AI, organizations need reliable data pipelines,
Hmm.
integration into existing workflows, clear governance, and
Hmm.
strong change enablement. It's not just
Okay.
change management, but strong enablement, change enablement.
Okay.
People need to understand that not just what the AI recommends, but
Hmm.
why and when to override the AI recommendations as well.
Hmm.
One of the things which is always kept at the bottom of the pyramid, but which is
Hmm.
equally important, is measurement. You need
Yes.
metrics that actually track adoption,
Got it.
your decision quality, and business outcomes over a period of time.
Hmm.
And then, like I was talking, it's not just management, change management, but
Hmm.
enablement or
Hmm.
adoption,
Hmm.
training teams to work with AI, not around it.
Hmm.
Many failures happen because
Yeah.
AI is introduced without preparing people for how their roles will evolve. And finally, I would say standards matter. How AI is approved, monitored, retired should be consistent across the enterprise. Without this discipline, scale creates chaos rather than just value.
Got it. Sure, sure, Anirban. Now, Anirban, once the AI is product or product grade, right? Still, how will you measure the ROI among different teams, maybe merchandising or supply chain? You mentioned about few points, but if you had to sum it up, right? Once it is AI grade, how do you measure the ROI? Hmm.
Very interesting question, Nageshwari. I think this is my point of view, but
Hmm.
traditional analytics success is often measured by output,
mm,
which includes your reports delivered, models built, dashboard use. Product grade AI actually shifts the focus to outcomes and behavior change.
mm,
Are decisions happening faster? Are your errors reduced? Is
mm,
manual effort declining? Is your customer experience showing measurable improvements?
mm,
ROI also becomes longitudinal. You
mm,
don't just measure impact at launch, you measure stability,
mm,
resilience, and learning over time.
mm.
Interestingly, some of the most valuable signals are negative ones. Fewer
Okay.
escalations, fewer overrides, fewer exceptions. They
Mm,
don't show up neatly in any of our dashboards, but they actually reflect the real operational maturity of the product grade AI systems.
okay.
Finally, I would say measuring AI success requires patience and a willingness to look maybe even beyond the immediate wins.
Got it. Got it. But Ani, when you spoke about failure, I want you to give more, insight into this. Despite doing, I have heard from a lot of leaders, despite, putting in so much of effort in the advanced analytics, still, it fails to build a, a good, AI product. So what might be the reasons, Anirban?
I think there are a lot of reasons why strong analytics initiatives actually fail to become like full-fledged production grade AI systems completely integrated into our workflows. Uh, I think that one of the most common reason is treating AI as a project rather than a product. Teams optimize for the delivery instead of durability. If you
Mm,
understand what I'm saying, right? The
mm,
immediate focus is always on the short-term delivery rather than
yeah.
the long-term durability of the initiative that we are talking about. Another frequent issue
Mm,
is lack of ownership, which we had covered some time back as well.
yeah.
But when
Yeah.
something goes wrong, no one feels accountable for the problem.
Got it.
Governance is sometimes often introduced too late,
Mm,
creating fiction instead of enablement again. I
got
have
it.
also seen a lot of these initiatives fails because they scale too fast.
Mm,
Organizations try to roll out AI enterprise wide before it has
mm,
stabilized in one domain.
mm.
That amplifies weakness instead of value. Successful AI products earn the right to actually scale through consistent performance, not just like I'm a leader, not just a leadership enthusiasm alone, right? And as an
Yeah.
AI leader.
Sure. So I think I can relate to this. The first point which you mentioned, the short term. To my daughter, I keep telling, don't worry about the marks. You're studying for your test. She's, test one is not even complete. She's already thinking about test two. I say it's okay. You missed some of the topics. It's completely fine. But you go deeper. You understand the why behind the topic. So is that what you're trying to say, Anirban?
Absolutely. See, I think it has to be balanced, Nageshwari. What I'm trying to say is that it has to be balanced. Short-term delivery, like if I compare to what you've been telling your daughter, like marks, like I don't think you'd appreciate if she gets a zero, right? Saying that, Mom, I'm trying to learn the why of it, and that's why I didn't feel like writing any of the answers, right? So committing to certain delivery meeting timelines is equally important. But when we are trying to build and meet timelines, you build, like I said, for durability, which means engineering excellence, AI
Mm,
engineering excellence is embedded as part of what you build, right?
mm,
So you kind of balance, you know that short term there is a delivery, but when you are creating an AI product, you actually
mm,
balance both between the short term delivery with a long
mm.
term roadmap of durability, engineering excellence embedded as part of it.
Hmm. Hmm. Sure, sure, Anirban. Sure, and I think we
By the
have
way,
come.
I am not, I think you're a very good mother. I generally scold my son if he does not get full marks. Maybe it's
Okay.
just me, but I have heard her mother saying that it's okay, it's okay. So I can
Yeah, it's the
understand.
other way. Actually, my daughter, she's like, okay, forget about the concept. I learned it during my summer vacation, which never happens. Actually, every grade, it never happens. So I tell her it's okay, it's okay. But she's in the rat race, and everyone getting marks. So I know it. There's a two perspectives to it. Sure,
Yep.
sure. Very good. So I think we have come to the second last, towards the end of our session, Anirban, and second last question. given your role and your leadership, and even one advice that you would like to give to our AI leaders who are who want to transition, who are in the transition phase from data analytics to the AI product journey, Anirban?
Very, very interesting question, Ashwini. I would say stop asking how the smart the AI is and start asking how responsible it is. What decision does it influence? Who owns that decision? How does it behave when things go wrong? How does it
Hmm.
learn? So these are all interesting questions associated to
Hmm.
building a production grade AI system. So if you do product thinking,
Hmm. Okay.
AI product thinking is less about brilliance, and
Hmm.
I think it's more about discipline.
Hmm.
And if I can end with a bit of humor around these lines, okay,
Sure.
I think AI does not eliminate any of the human judgment. It actually makes bad judgment more expensive in nature. Leaders who recognize that and invest equally in people, governance, and technology are the ones who turn AI into a lasting advantage rather than a short-lived experiment. You can call it pilot, POC. And one of my colleagues had actually used this
Hmm.
word called as POC graveyard. Okay. So you don't want all your initiatives to become like a POC or pilot graveyard. So you rather
Absolutely.
want it to have like a lasting advantage for the enterprise overall.
Absolutely, Anirban. And last question, which I like to ask to most of my guests, Anirban, what is your go-to, let it be books, or how do you keep yourself abreast in the industry, Anirban?
I think I've been very, very lucky. So I've been surrounded by a group of extremely well-read AI engineers.
Okay.
So it's a mix of me doing a lot of reading and postcard listening. I'm very bad with reading books. Okay,
Yeah,
I was
same.
never good with reading books, even when I was going through my education. Even it continues to be the same right now. So it's a lot of listening, podcast
Hmm.
listening
Hmm.
over the weekend, and being surrounded by a group of intelligent AI engineers who comes and tells me, "Did you hear this? Did you hear
Okay.
that?" Okay, so
Okay.
I now at least have the keyword to know what I can
Um,
search when I'm driving back home from work. So that's
what,
how I
what,
keep myself informed. And I
great.
think it has worked for me. Everybody has their own style. This is my style of keeping myself informed.
Sure. So, which media are you following, Anirban? If if you get any keyword, how do you search it with? Use it. You use
So
ChatGPT or?
I do a lot of combinations. So I have enterprise license of ChatGPT, Gemini,
Oh,
Perplexity, and I
okay.
try to balance between all of them actually. Otherwise,
Absolutely.
um, I realized during the first year of AI tools and technologies, I was a little biased towards one of them, which I will not
Mhm.
name. But then I realized that to get a neutral viewpoint, you need to balance and have my
Absolutely.
way of speaking was also changing because I was getting more balance. This is what I'm reading, so this is what I'm speaking. But if you have like a balance across these different tools, AI tools and technologies, the way
Mm.
you come across will also be more balanced that way. So
Absolutely.
it's a
No,
combination
totally
of all.
agree with you. Totally
YouTube
agree
is
with
still
you.
one of my favorite, by the way. YouTube is still one
Sorry?
of my favorite.
YouTube?
YouTube is still, yep, YouTube is still one of my favorite.
Okay, great, great. Actually, I can relate to your podcasting. In fact, I stopped my cook, and I cook myself, and I listen to podcasts. It's like it's like a therapy for me. Even I don't like reading books, so I can totally relate. And the second point also, I was also, I don't want to name that thing. I was totally, but now I realize that it has to be balanced. I have to use multiple AI. Anirban. Sure, Anirban. Thank you so much for your time,
Thank
and it
you.
was such a pleasure hosting you, Anirban.
Thank you, Nageshwari. It was my pleasure to be part of this podcast, and hopefully, the audience and the listeners will gain something insightful from this.
Absolutely, absolutely, Anirban. And I look forward to be in touch with you and invite you in more of such podcasts and workshops, Anirban.
Sure. All right. Thank you,